fans, and welcome to another episode of Silver Screams. I'm Megan Salinas.
I'm Katie Cullen.
And today we are talking about Scream 5.
So this is going to be a spoiler video, so like if you haven't seen it, come back when you have.
Well, we can do like a really quick like first impressions.
We can, you're right.
Okay, so this will be a quick spoiler-free section.
A little bit of spoiler-free, but then spoilers will occur, but we will also let you know, like, there will be spoilers beyond this point, so...
Yeah.
Because we realize not everyone is comfortable going out to see it right now, as there is a whole-ass pandemic going on.
It's almost like some stuff is happening.
It's almost like there's a global event occurring.
I will say first and foremost that I had a great time.
Oh yeah.
We also just came back from the theater. This is
like an hour or two ago, so this is fresh. This is not scripted. This is not percolated. We're still kind of sitting here going, what a good movie.
We haven't even really had time to like marinate on the merits of the film. This is literal, just walked out of the theater, came home, sat down, and started recording impressions. So who knows, maybe after thinking about it for a little bit, our opinions will change. But for right now, this is just how we feel walking out of the theater. And
this was also my second horror movie ever in theaters.
First one being Hellfest, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this, I think, was an excellent addition to the Scream franchise. I had a great time with it. It was also just nice to see a lot of the legacy characters come back. It's nice to hear Roger Jackson's voice.
Oh my God, yes.
Playing the character. Again, his performance, I think this might be like one of his best performances out of the entire franchise.
Oh yeah. Just the cold open performance was stellar.
Yeah, he doesn't normally get to do, like, I don't think he's gotten to do a performance like that since the first one. And this one was a different type of performance too than that first one.
Yep.
So Roger Jackson really gets to shine. I liked the balance that they had between the legacy characters and the new characters. How about you? How are you feeling now? The second horror movie in theaters.
My usual joke for Scream is, yes, the Scream trilogy, 1, 2, and 4. I have to stop making that joke now. 5 is good, you guys. I really enjoyed it. It did a few things I wasn't expecting. It did a few things I was totally expecting, and that I appreciate that it did. Like, it did take some tropes and go, yeah, and it did some tropes where it's like, we're gonna subvert this. Well, actually. And it keeps you guessing pretty much until the end, like, what they're gonna play straight, what they're gonna subvert, and what they're gonna lampshade.
And what they're gonna do commentary on, too.
Yeah! The motive in this movie, I think I screamed. You were next to me. I'm pretty sure I was hollering my damn face off.
I couldn't tell because I also was
were also. And we'll get to that in the spoiler section, but I do appreciate the bent, the ghost face motivation this episode.
We've been talking about Scream TV for so long, which BTW, if you've been watching this channel for a little bit, you know that we did do vlogs on the Scream TV show for the first two seasons. The third season, we had a hell of a time trying to find the episodes because it wasn't streaming as it was going, and so we totally fell off at
cable.
Yeah, so we weren't able to find it, but it's all on Netflix now. So if there's any interest in us going back, I personally would love to go back.
Yeah, I mean,
and check out that third season.
We are we're doing our best to get back in the saddle in terms of recording because life is batshit insane. But that's housekeeping. That's not Scream. We'll talk about that a little more at the end, I think, if we remember. I am fully prepared for this video to be like an hour long.
For sure.
It's us. It might be.
I'm right there with you. I really liked what this movie was commenting on. I liked the motivation.
I wish we had a little more time or a little more development with our new group, because they definitely had to do some balancing between here's our new group, here's our other new characters, here's our legacy characters. And that's not an easy balance to strike. No. And I think they did the best that they could, because this was a 2-hour movie, like full up and straight up and down, 120 minutes. Mm-hmm. And it didn't feel like a 2-hour movie.
Not even remotely.
But I feel like if we had spent more time with these characters, we would have felt it. I don't think there was any way to really win, but I do think I think they balanced that as best they could. But I think that came at the cost of some depth for some of our new characters who are not our straight up protagonist.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel that, but at the same time, I do feel like they did the best they could with the time that was given.
Yeah.
It was definitely a time thing. That being said, the time that we did spend with them did feel like it was injected with a lot of personality and a lot of humor.
There were definitely a few of them where I'm like, I know you by your role, but not much else. And then there were a few of them where I'm like, I'm keeping this character, they're mine. Don't touch them. Don't touch them, they're mine. Stop it. I know they're in a horror movie. Stop it. So.
No joke, guys. There were a couple scenes where there'd be we'd start up a new scene. It would be an establishing shot with a certain character, and Katie would verbally out loud with her human mouth in a theater went, "Don't you dare! Don't you fucking dare!"
I didn't yell it.
No.
I do try to be a relatively polite theater goer, and we definitely had a crew in the front row who were. There was a kill scene that was suspenseful, and I swear it went on for a solid 5 minutes. The back and forth with this one, really good.
It was definitely a scene that was meant to evoke a lot of dread. You knew something was going to happen at any given moment.
Yeah. And then a lot of it was, there was no background music. It was very silent. And these people in the front row, they'd been reacting to stuff. We'd all kind of been reacting to stuff. But they were just straight up talking through this scene. And about halfway through, me and a guy on the other side of the theater who I don't know, I yelled, "Y'all hush." He yelled, "Shut the fuck up." Like, pretty much at the same time. It's like, oh, okay. Because if they hadn't, I was this close to basically going to her and go, "Tell me if X-human dies," and going to get security. I didn't have to do that, but I was this fucking close. So like, I sit here and go, man, I hope when I get excited about things, I don't bother other people in the theater, and then I remember that I'm not them. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
I feel a little better about sitting in my seat and going, ah!
This is your PSA reminder to be a considerate moviegoer attendee.
It is okay to react and be enthusiastic. It is not okay to talk through the fucking suspense scenes when you think that Ghostface might be in the house.
Okay. So let's wrap up our spoiler-free section because I know we've been as considerate as we can be walking out of the theater and like trying to make sure that we didn't spoil it for anybody.
I think we said, boy, that was a good movie, like
15
times.
Yeah. What was also great was actually, I'm wearing a Ghostface shirt and leaving the theater and walking by people who went, "Wait, did you just see it? Was it good?"
And both of us just like, yes!
And also, getting flagged by somebody, "Oh, did you just see it? I really loved it. What did you think?"
Yeah.
That was
so
great.
If you feel safe enough to go see it in the current climate, absolutely recommend seeing it, especially if you are a fan of the franchise. If you're not a fan of the franchise, there's definitely going to be some in-bits that you don't get, but the story still definitely holds up. If you are a fan of the franchise, this is amazing, holy shit.
Yeah.
If you do not feel comfortable going to a theater in the current climate, absolutely fucking valid. Oh my god, we were wearing KN95s the entire time, Don't let anyone spoil it for you if you can manage it, because it is well worth seeing cold. There was I'm doing all sorts of theories. There was a point about a third of the way in where I did call one of the killers, and it's a Scream movie. You're like, it could be that person. It could be that person. Everyone's a suspect. But just because you may or may not be able to pick out the killer doesn't mean that there aren't little bits along the way that are it's worth the surprise. So if you do not feel comfortable seeing it in theaters right now and you are able to remain unspoiled, Godspeed, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I had a very good time with it. Scream is one of my favorite horror franchises. I love the blend of humor and genuine scares that it evokes. I'm really attached to the legacy characters because I've been with them for so long. Yeah, it's one of those franchises where it evokes a lot of it. It puts a spotlight on like a love of the genre that like I and a lot of other people share, and it's one of the few genres that's like, yeah, this genre's cool and fun and funny, and let's talk about it.
And I can see why you enjoy seeing these in theaters with other people who also enjoy it, provided that those assholes don't talk through it.
Yeah, there is something really fun about seeing a scary movie in a packed theater on opening weekend. It's kind of magical. And even though like we're living in a weird time right now, and obviously I would emphasize safety over everything else.
Absolutely.
But some of my favorite movie-going experiences have been seeing a scary movie opening weekend with a crowd full of people. And this one,
you also went to the fucking Halloween Kills premiere.
I did. That was fun.
You got lucky. You're welcome.
I was like that.
I got you that ticket. You're welcome. But yeah, if there's anywhere to see it, man, it's the fucking premiere.
Yeah, exactly. So this was a really good time. If you like the franchise, you will be pleased. And if you're not a fan of the franchise, then I'm going to be honest, there's probably not a ton for you here.
If you're not a fan of the franchise, why would you see a movie in that franchise?
Exactly.
It's a Scream movie. You know what you're going to get in a Scream movie, and that it's not going to pretend to be anything else. This franchise has been pretty damn good at going, we know what we are.
Yeah,
and this is what we're going to give you.
I will say that
there's no ghosts, there's no demonic possession, there's no
time travel, which unlike the Stab franchise, which is by far the worst
one. But yeah, no,
I will say I remember we watched a review, a spoiler-free review before seeing it, and the reviewer, I think it was for Nerdist Now, Allie,
who is amazing.
Definitely check out Nerdist Now's horror stuff. They're amazing.
My god, they're all hosted by her, and she is fantastic.
But one of the things she said is that this is the most brutal Scream movie, and I would have to agree. It is probably the most I don't want to say gory, but it's definitely the most like physically violent, where it's like, you see something and you're just like, whoa, ah!
Yeah, it's one of those movies where, you know, sometimes you're watching a movie and it's normal ass people. I keep thinking of the Transformers franchise with this, and it's the cinema sins of this person survives this, where they fall off something, run into something, punch someone or get punched, etc.
This one, when someone gets hurt, you feel it.
There was only one point where I was sitting there going, doesn't that human have this wound right now? But yeah, everything else, like, you feel when someone gets injured in this movie, and the movie makes it clear, like, yes, this human has this injury, they are not shaking it off.
Yeah.
Like, they are doing their best in spite of it, but they are not shaking it off.
So, like, be prepared that the violence in this is a little bit more visceral than it is in a lot of the other Scream movies, which
the practical effects.
Oh, so good. That being said, I couldn't tell you where I would rank this amongst the other ones. Like, I need to sit down and rewatch the franchise, because I'm having trouble placing this, whether or not I think it's like the second or third best.
Better than 2, equal to 4, nothing beats the original.
Nothing beats the original.
3 doesn't exist.
That's being too harsh.
I'm the one with the stupid 1, 2, and 4 trilogy joke, alright? I'm allowed to stick with that line.
Oh, 3 has its moments. But that being said, I need to sit down and rewatch them, because I can't definitively decide where I place this one. Still, I had a great time in the theater, and if you like Scream, you will have a good time too.
Oh yeah, this is one where we're going to wind up with the Blu-ray and being like, what's the director's commentary? What's the deleted scenes? What are you giving us?
Absolutely.
Where's the fucking blooper reel? Where?
I love Scream blooper reels. They're so good and poor. The poor actor playing Ghostface.
If you haven't seen the Scream 4 blooper reel, there's, the point in, and this is Scream 4 spoilers, not Scream 5, so we're fine. There's the point on, like, where they're running down the staircase and Sydney grabs a picture frame and beats Ghostface over the head with it. There's a blooper in that where she does that and the poor stunt double's just like... And she goes, oh my god, are you okay? One of those missed the protective pad with the umbrella moments. Like, okay, I love it.
Okay, so generally speaking, spoiler-free, thumbs up from both of us.
Loved
it. Okay, so yeah.
This is the point where we start talking spoilers. If you have not seen the movie and want to remain unspoiled, see you later. Save the timestamp and come back once you've seen it. Because yeah, from here on in, it is spoiler talk in 3, 2, 1. Stab 8 was terrible.
Stab 8! Okay.
Stab 8 was so bad. And they just called it Stab. They should have called it Stab 8. It's right. The James and Chelsea cameo was fucking amazing.
Speaking of YouTubers that you should be following if you're not already, check out Dead Meat, the Kill Count and the Kill Count, and the Dead Meat podcast. Absolutely fantastic.
So good. And he's been doing bits. I guess I don't know if they toured the Scream house or they stayed in it, but wow. There's a recent video where they toured the Scream house and went like, this is what happened here. This is this bit. Great little video. And then they've been doing little teeny, like, minute-long, hey, did you know this trivia about Scream all this week leading up to the movie. And then they're in the fucking movie.
So good.
In a parody YouTube channel called Film Fails, but you look at it and it's the Dead Meat podcast set, talking about how bad Stab 8 is and nobody likes it and it's
Why
such
are they calling it Stab?
Movie.
Just call it Stab 8.
And I immediately went, oh, James and Chelsea. And then I went, oh yeah, they're definitely playing characters because they're not assholes. No, the characters are assholes. James and Chelsea are not assholes. I realized I really needed to clarify that sentence.
But, and we were talking about this, it's so fun watching, like, YouTubers that we're fans of, like, pop up in the movies and stuff like that.
If you've seen Free Guy, they have bits where they have, like, YouTubers and Twitch streamers reacting, and Jacksepticeye is one of them, and I was like, oh, it's Jack!
Yeah, so it was a delight to see, like, people we're fans of pop up in the movie, too.
Yeah.
And, of course, Scream has always embraced that meta commentary thing, like casting Tori Spelling in Scream 2 to play Sidney Prescott. Like, they've always loved this meta self-aware stuff. Like, that's one of the big aspects of why Scream is so appealing.
And again, the Scream franchise knows exactly what it is, and it's not going to pretend to be anything else. And our cold open goes into, well, what kind of horror do you like? Well, I like the elevated horror. I like the Babadook. I like the Witch, or the Vavitch. Well, I will never be over that personally. Or Hereditary. Stuff where it's horror, yes, but there is also, it's very emotionally heavy. It's got,
there's social commentary a lot of the time. There are themes and allegories, like the way she described the character in our cold open, Tara. She gets the call, and this is what we were talking about earlier with Roger Jackson's performance is so good.
He ramps it up from, I'm a normal dude, to, I'm fucking kill you. Just so slowly and gradually, and so
the gradual escalation of it was so beautiful. And it's funny too because it's very similar to the beats in the first movie, but it's a complete, like, the character that he's crafted for himself is a very, very different person than the flirty, like, oh hey, like, what are you doing? It's Friday night, like, what's going on, girl? Like, I guess I dialed the wrong number. This is completely different, like, oh, I'm trying to get a hold of your mom, like, it's Charlie from Group. So he's playing, like, this kind of shy, awkward guy who, like, knows this character's mom, but, like, this is kind of awkward, if you could just pass along this message, and then, she's talked about you.
And the fact that Tara thinks that this is someone who is calling for her mom, might be trying to date her mom, etc., means that she's kind of, she's a teenager. She's poking at him like, oh, really? What group did you meet her at? Oh, really? Oh, she talks about me. Well, what did she say about me?
Yeah.
Like, the sort of thing where
the power dynamic flips so quickly.
Yeah.
But it's a beautiful power dynamic flip, because at first it's this like very, very smart, very sassy teenager who's like, ugh, this
guy is calling for my mom.
Her mom has probably dated a lot of losers.
Probably.
Just the way she's reacting to it. And so she's like, ugh, another loser, who's just,
she's
trying to get with
her
mom.
friend at the time, because her friend is supposed to come over.
Mm-hmm. And the way his voice slowly but surely becomes more menacing, and the discussion slowly turns to talking about art and movies, and what kind of movies? Do you like scary movies?
The second that he dropped, what's your favorite scary movie? It was just like,
it's beautiful. Like,
we're in it, folks. We're doing it.
We're in it.
We are in the cold open, and she is not going to live for the next 5 minutes. Yeah, she lived through the whole ass movie. Like, wow.
It's so nice.
Her cold open kill didn't die?
Yeah.
What?
And that's another unique
one
thing.
Of those, you expect this from Scream, and it's like, oh, we subverted this trope, and it turns into why? Why did our cold open kill not actually be a kill? And it's all part of the plan, it's all part of the plot, it's actually very well woven in.
The whole point of attacking this character, Tara, was to lure her estranged sister back into town. Her sister, Sam, who actually is our main character. So, Sam has this strained relationship with her mom and her sister, and she left town to head over to Modesto, California, basically the second she turned 18. She basically turned her back on everybody that she knew and just left Woodsboro, as one should do.
And we find out. Yeah. I mean, they drop the hints and they do the fun cameos and whatnot, and then we find out that she is Billy Loomis's kid. And that she didn't know until she was reading through her mom's high school diaries.
And it's this revelation that essentially tore their family apart, because her mom never told their dad.
Yeah, because she was, the mom was dating the dad, but had a fling with Billy. And then told the dad, oh, it's yours, and that's why they got married after senior year. So, her confronting her mom about it, she didn't know her dad was listening, her dad left that night. So it's one of those, like, not only am I the kid of a serial killer, but
then I tore my family apart.
Yeah. Which, it's wasn't her fault. So
no, and I like that the movie does go out of its way when she's talking to Tara. Tara tells her, "Hey, you have no say over where you come from," which I think is something that a lot of horror movies kind of don't really emphasize. A lot of times, if there's like your father was actually this, unless unless it's like randomly, like Nightmare 6, Freddy's dead, like the person kind of turns out to be evil or something like that, and it's kind of a bummer, because it's like, that's not cool, guys.
Yeah, horror movies really like to do like father, like son, sins of the father, legacy.
Evil begetting evil, that sort of thing.
They really go more for the nature versus nurture side of things. And so throughout the whole movie, like interspersed, our introduction to Sam is she's chilling outside her job with a Monster Energy drink and a bottle of pills. And you find out later that it's her prescription and it's antipsychotics. And she has been hallucinating Billy Loomis as he appeared in the climax of Scream 1. So, like,
Skeet Ulrich is in this movie. Yeah. Which I was not anticipating. And when we saw him,
I was makeup, like, damn.
I was sitting here hoping, can we get a Matthew Lillard cameo? And sadly, it never materialized.
And I was wondering if she was going to start, hallucinating Matthew Lillard, too. And no, because she knew who her dad was. So she's had this whole, I'm the kid of a serial killer, what if I turn out like that? And given that we saw this on Saturday, and so a number of other people that we know had already seen it, like I'd seen one person say, it's fine, and everyone else go, holy shit, it's amazing. And I'm sitting here watching this, and with the, okay, she's taking antipsychotics, her prescription isn't working the way it should, she's hallucinating this thing that she's afraid of and also related to, like, I was legitimately worried that for a bit there we were gonna do the
she's the killer and she doesn't know.
She's one of the killers and she doesn't know. It turns out she
twists.
Snapped a while ago. The malignant but not batshit insane twist. Things.
Don't make the malignant comparison because there is no comparison. We need to talk about malignant at some point. Oh my god.
Is the killer, or some part of them is a killer, but they don't know it. And part of me is like,
malignant, I guess.
Part of me is like, I'm really worried that they're going to do it because this is a thing that horror likes to do. And the other part of me is like, that is such a dated, fucked up trope about mental illness, one. And for another, I don't think that anyone that I saw that loved this movie would have loved it if that was the twist. Like, I seriously doubt that if Scream had done that. And it's not something that Scream as a franchise would do. It doesn't really lean into, like, it doesn't lean into this character has, what is it? Not split identity. Hallucinating or dissociative identity disorder. Like, this person doesn't, like, their killers have never been this person has this or that or the other. It's been, their killers certainly aren't okay and could definitely use some therapy, but also they know what they're fucking doing.
Scream 2 and Scream 3 sort of dipped its toes into main character is seeing things where we're not 100% sure if they're real or not. Like in Scream 2, there's the bit where Sydney's on stage and you see people in Ghostface masks because, like, they're, you know, everybody else on stage is in Greek theater mask, but you see Ghostface running around. And by the time the scene wraps up, you're not sure if there was somebody in costume running around on stage just to mess with her, or if that was something she was kind of hallucinating because she's under a lot of stress and
shit's happening again.
And then in Scream 3, there's straight up like, oh, yeah, we don't know if this is like, Sydney starts seeing her dead mom outside of her window and things like that, and we're just like,
woof.
This
is why Scream 3 doesn't exist.
But just saying that, like, the franchise has dipped its toes into that territory, but it's never really leaned into it.
Yeah. And this is a character with mental illness for which she is taking medication, and it's like, as you know, if that is something that is prescribed to you as something that will help with a mental illness, then yes, absolutely, that's what medication is for. If you can't make your own serotonin, store-bought is fine. Like, that sort of thing. And I appreciate that we had her as our protagonist. We had this thing that she was worried about, that her family reassures her that no, it doesn't determine who you are, and that we did not have that twist in horror where it's like, well, actually, you've been evil the whole time, and she's able to be like, no. No, none of that shit. Because the whole, you're the villain, we're gonna pin this on you, you've been evil the whole time. And we're just like, fucking stop.
That being said, she's absolutely brutal when she needs to be.
Oh my God.
Which is fantastic.
That final, well, it's not the final kill, but you know.
Yeah.
There's always the last someone comes back and needs a boom headshot. But the final thing, like, if you took that out of context and just showed it to someone and be like, so who's the villain and who's the hero in this clip? 50-50 fucking shot, man. Damn!
And I like it too because framing her as the villain is exactly what a hack would do. Which is exactly what the actual villains of this movie try to do.
Again, I was legitimately worried that this movie, like, the one thing that kept me from going, oh God, this is an actual possibility, is most of the people I know whose tastes I trust adore this movie, and they wouldn't love it if it did something that fucking stupid.
Yeah, and look, I enjoyed movies like Identity and like Secret Window, which have very similar twists to that whole thing, who
Let's
play into that
Secret
trope.
Window is very fun and very stupid.
It's very stupid.
It's very stupid.
But like, so I do enjoy those twists sometimes when it pops up, but a lot of times they're antiquated, and again, you do kind of have to take a step back and go, okay, what is this saying about mental illness? Is this a conversation we need to have?
Nobody really knows what, it's like, nobody who says schizophrenic to mean dissociative identity really understands what either of those things are and how they affect normal people, and those are some rough stereotypes for them to have to deal with on top of mental illness. So I'm really glad that this movie was like, here's a portrayal of mental illness. She's having a really rough time, and she needs to she needs like her prescription to be readjusted, but she's not evil.
And I like
any capacity.
I like the final message. Like, am I going to be okay? Eventually. Yeah. Which I appreciated. So let's talk about the new cast a little bit, because we talked a little bit in the spoiler-free section.
That was Sam. We talked about Sam. Sam is wonderful, and we stand a queen. She's also the only person she's not the only person in any of those movies to go, we're leaving. The cameraman in Scream 2, I will forever remember that guy as being like, peace.
Well, and as Sydney rightfully points out,
it will follow
you. She went to college. She sequestered herself in in the boonies at one point, and then coming back to Woodsboro, and then going, well, this was a mistake, never setting foot here again. So like, yeah, especially given the motives of these killers, they absolutely would have followed these two for sure.
It turns out one of the killers was out there with her to start.
One of the killers was driving it.
Dewey calling it was amazing. And it's like, they won't do the boyfriend twist again, will they? Oh my god.
They even repeat a couple, they even do a couple nods to Scream 2, actually. There's a bit where Ghostface calls Sam, and she says something along the lines of, why don't you come and fucking get me? And he says, with pleasure, and comes out from behind a door. That is beat for beat right out of Scream 2. And at the end of this sequence, her boyfriend Richie gets slashed just like Jerry O'Connell's character in Scream 2. And that one also played around with the expectations of like, well, is her boyfriend in on it? And in that movie, it turned out that was a red herring, and that was Mickey deliberately messing with Sydney, which was so heartbreaking.
Because in the first movie, it was her fucking boyfriend. And his dumbass friend.
So having Richie get slashed on the arm was both a cool nod to Scream 2, but also like a good, it was a good misdirect of like, are we going the Scream 2 route where we kind of hint that it might be the boyfriend, but it turns out he's just an innocent, nice guy who really loves this lady.
And so much of this movie, because the whole rules bit, this was, they're doing a requel. Well, you can't do, when a franchise is beloved, but, there was an installment that's a new shoe or whatever.
A wonderful monologue from the character Mindy, one of the twins, who is Randy's niece.
Yeah. Like, yeah, she's great, and I adore
She was
her.
a lot of fun.
I'm very glad that she lived, because I'm like, wait a minute, this means that they didn't murder the only, I don't know if they're the only characters of color, but they were prominently characters of color, and they didn't bury their gays. Oh my god, I thought they did both.
I was very happy to see Chad and Mindy live.
I thought they were both, when Chad got stabbed in the leg like that, I'm like, that's not one that you generally think of as a killer in horror movies, but it absolutely is. You can absolutely bleed out from your fucking thigh.
It definitely kills a character early on in the Scream TV series. This very, very, very sweet, likable girl gets slashed in the leg and she bleeds out. No, that one was a heartbreaking one. It's like, oh no!
That is why tourniquets exist, you guys. You lose the leg, but you save your life.
But yeah, out of all the new characters, who was your favorite? Because mine was Mindy, for sure.
I love Mindy so much.
So
I mean, gotta love Sam, But also just like
Sam and Tara were great, but Mindy I think was my favorite.
Mindy takes after her uncle.
You were saying about requels.
Yeah, they were talking about like the whole rules thing was, all right, well, you know, we have the Stab franchise, which is, you know, the movie within a movie for Scream. It's the movies that are Scream, that are about Scream. We've had like 8 Stabs at this point, and I guess the last one was really bad.
Which, given the maybe 10 seconds of Scream 8 or Stab 8 that we saw on the little YouTube video, it did look insane.
It looks a little bit like Rob Zombie Halloween.
Yeah, like
it's
Ghostface
still
has
Halloween.
a chrome silver mask. He's got a flamethrower.
No sleeves.
It's just like, I kind of want to see the trailer for Stab 8 if I'm being honest.
This was Rob Zombie's Stab, okay? That's kind of what we got from that.
Oh, man.
And so the idea of a requel is like, it's not a direct sequel because you kind of want to disown a few things, but you can't reboot the franchise either because the fans go insane. So you make a requel, which is a little column A and a little column B, and Scream out here straight up admitting, yeah, this is exactly what we're doing.
It's, you know, because you have to, if you're trying to do a sequel, there's so much lore, you know, you kind of have to wipe the slate clean a little bit, you know. It's very much
they brought up Halloween 2018 as one of the things doing that. And it's like, it's not really, though. It is a sequel that just throws the rest of the franchise out on its ass. Like, I get what you're going for there. I will argue the semantics with you, but, like...
Well, and they even point out that the terminology,
terminology's fucky. But, so... I don't remember where I was going with this. Requels. Again, we actually had 2 different rules explanations for this, which was great. It was surviving this shit, specifically this shit, and then also surviving a requel. And I really appreciate that we had Dewey giving the first one because he lived through 4 of these stupid things.
Stabbed 9 times.
I've been stabbed 9 times and I walk with a nice little limp. You really think I want to do this again?
Permanent
and then he wound up doing this again because Dewey is a good human. That poor bastard. Admittedly, not today, and yes, today was great and also terrible.
Oh,
so Dewey does not make it out of this one.
Yeah, Dewey dies, and
it's real bad.
And they the killers even point out that he had to in order to prove that there are stakes. Yeah. And you know, while talking about requels, you know, they bring up everything from various horror requels to Star Wars.
I remember where I was going with this.
Yes. Which is, you know, exactly what the new sequel trilogy did. Like, you kill off a legacy character to prove that there are stakes. And I won't say which one in case you haven't seen it. In case for some reason you haven't seen the sequel trilogy.
We're not going to talk about Star Wars in here. We know that the last trilogy is all contentious, etc. Like that's fine. You're allowed to have an opinion. You're not allowed to be an asshole.
I did like that Sam was like, "Am I in the middle of fan fiction? Is that what you're telling me right now?"
like you're not just in it. You're the main character, and it's like, you never want to be the main character of someone's fan fiction.
And then
that's someone who's written a good amount of it.
Character. And Mindy is the first to point out, you're probably the killer. Which makes a whole lot... I kind of like how... Because at first, with how irreverent she and Chad were being, I kind of thought that they were just being heartless assholes. But it does kind of mirror the detached irony that the group of friends had in like the first act of the first Scream. But then it also makes sense when you find out that they're related to Randy. And you're like, he was also very much kind of a dick in that first act of the first movie.
And also, they make a point of going like, oh yeah, this is Gen Z. And I'm sitting here going, this is supposed to take place in present day. I mean, they weren't going to write the pandemic into this because, oh God. But also, just the way that things have gone in America, on Earth, I can understand why this would be the approach. I'm not saying that it's a good thing or a bad thing. I'm saying I understand why these characters of this demographic were written in this fashion because, for one, it's not quite Ryan Murphy hyper-stylized, but Scream has always been a little hyper-stylized in terms of witty banter, etc.
Yeah.
For another, it kind of reads, you know? It kind of reads.
I would be interested to hear how some teenagers who might be a fan of the franchise and I do like that they talk a little bit about, like, it's a movie that like, you know, like a lot of kids watched with their parents, like it was the first scary movie that they watched with their parents, and that was like a bonding experience. I like that they explore that idea in the movie a little bit, because that is Scream for a lot of people.
And they really went into, well, in the spoiler-free section we talked about the killer motivation. How can fandom be toxic is the point where I started screaming. He says while brandishing a knife, having murdered a number of people already. Holy
I would be very interested. Sorry, I just wanted to finish my thought.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
I would be very interested to see how a lot of Gen Z viewers who are fans of the franchise, how they would view this movie, because I'll be honest, I don't really know a whole lot of Gen Z kids. I'm an adult.
How do you do, fellow children?
I'm an adult with no children, so I do wonder if it comes off a little bit as, how do you do, my fellow kids? I genuinely don't know. But, like,
admittedly, if you had a Gen Z child, you would have had to have had them in, like, high school.
No, I just mean I don't really know a whole lot. I have some younger cousins who are still in high school, but, they live far away, and so I don't chit-chat with them on as regular a basis as, like, if we lived in the same town. So I'm not sure how much of this comes off as how do you do, my fellow kids, or if any of it does at all. I will say that, like, as somebody who was very young when the first movie came out, and has grown to love this franchise, I love this movie. Like, I think that's fair to say. But anyway, I'm sorry, you were saying.
But yeah, I love that the motivation was fandom.
Yeah.
Because that really
How could they make the 8th movie the worst thing? The fans deserve better.
And we're doing these killings to give them better source material. And I'm just sitting here going, oh, I'm in pain. This is the reason that so much of what we say here in terms of discussion, and I mean, God, I said it like a minute ago, you are allowed to have an opinion. Your opinion is valid. You are not allowed to be an asshole about it. And this goes back to, and there's, I'm a fandom old. Yeah, I'm fucking 33 and people think I shouldn't be on social media anymore because that's too old. Okay. Anyway, I do remember LiveJournal, and I do remember moderated communities where if you came in and showed your ass, you would either get a warning of like, hey, this is the problem here, you need to adhere to these standards and understand that everyone you're talking to is also a people, or you would just get that ass thrown out the door. Because LiveJournal went down because it got bought out and people migrated because there's a whole other thing in history there.
I was going to say, let's not start pulling on that thread.
Yeah, no, just
you go down a rabbit hole.
Oh my God, the strike through, just everything. But we wound up on Twitter and Tumblr and Dreamwidth, and it never really made the full migration to Dreamwidth, despite the fact that Dreamwidth is LiveJournal but better. But Tumblr still is, wildly unmoderated. There were few, if any, consequences for not behaving well. Twitter, much the same. It's unmoderated. If you don't like someone, you can just block them. There's no real, like, this is a community, these are the standards you adhere to, aside from the TOS. And we know that if you're big or famous enough, the TOS don't always apply to you. So, a lot of people who their first fandom experience was on Tumblr, on Twitter, etc., in these larger unmoderated communities, never necessarily really learned how to act in them. And so without this moderation, you could have, oh, well, this is what I think and you're fucking wrong, and there was no one saying, okay, you're allowed to have, you could have this discussion, but you need to have it like adults and not like insult each other. It was just people going nuts because there's no moderation.
And not And you pair that with, there's a great Ryan George sketch about social media engagement, and about how something that provokes certain types of emotions, the algorithm see that you are engaging with that, here's more content like that. So you pair the algorithm, like the way a lot of social media algorithms push certain types of content towards people because of the emotions that they evoke from people, and you pair that with unmoderated people being assholes,
and the ability to find people. And then more recently, and I would say this doesn't apply as much to movies, but no, it fucking does. Social media, people tend to take it as availability, and then it's, oh well, I didn't like this, I'm gonna go yell at the actor or the producer or the writer or whoever's on,
and then someone yell directly at them, at their personal social medias.
Someone gets doxxed. A conversation that maybe should happen can't happen because it has escalated to doxing and all that bullshit. And so you wind up with people who don't always necessarily see people on the other end of the internet as people, think that their opinion is the only opinion, and again, your opinion is valid, but you're not allowed to be an asshole about it. It's this really awful, toxic mix. And then you wind up on, in the case of this movie, a subreddit where it becomes an echo chamber for all of these people who really hate this thing. It's like, okay, you really hate this thing. The people who are tired of seeing you talk about hating this thing have already left by this point. So it's just these people left making an echo chamber, and then it turns into, well, why shouldn't we have what we want?
Murder is the only option!
Yeah, murder is the only option. Part of me is like, that's a leap, and part of me is like, ooh.
Well, and
when you're on the internet long enough, you've seen some shit, and the thing that comes to mind is the person who broke into Gavin and Meg's house a few years ago.
Yikes!
Yeah, Gavin Free and Meg Turney, and for those of you who are Rooster Teeth people, you may or may not remember this happening, but it's fucked up. And it's people thinking that they are entitled to someone else's creative process. And yeah, Hollywood has problems coming up with new shit because they don't want to gamble, because there's large amounts of money involved, and the people who make decisions aren't always in touch with creative processes, trends, etc. And it takes years to make anything. There is no quick turnaround. Like, yes, there are a number of issues in Hollywood, in publishing, in TV, in fucking anything. But guys,
the entertainment industry as a whole.
Entertainment industry as a whole. But God, that doesn't mean... You want to take it into your own hands, you write fan fiction, you don't commit murder. Like, how hard is this? And evidently for some people, it is very difficult, because some people tie their identities to this sort of thing. And I think that's part of what we saw depicted in the movie here. So I feel seen in both the best and worst possible ways in this movie. Because it's like, oh, I have experienced a fraction of what these people are pissed off about. And that's just being a relatively ascended fan on the periphery of some media products. Like
to quote the movie that you constantly ignore in this franchise, Scream 3, like...
What movie?
And I'm not quoting it verbatim, but the movies didn't make you this way. You were just looking for an excuse. And I do like that they explore how loving something can be both a good thing and a horribly toxic thing. When you value that thing more than the people around you, or more than the people that it bonded you with.
Or more than human life.
Just period.
That's the really... I mean, there are a number of really fucked up things about this, but that is the great, awful pulse that this movie put its thumb on, in that there are people who are willing to do shit like this, and boy, they don't like being called out on it.
Nope.
It's one of those things where it's also like, one of these kids is in high school. Like, one of our killers is the high school kid.
Yeah.
And so, it's like, I remember being in high school. I remember not wanting my parents to see what I was doing on the internet, but my parents didn't like the fact that I was into anime, and I was just amassing pictures to print them off and put them in my lit binder. Like, I was always the good kid, sometimes to my detriment. But it's good to know what your kids are up to in online spaces, especially nowadays, because holy fuck, you guys. Oh, this was a very good movie, but also it's kind of terrifying to see, like, oh yeah, no, that's a thing. And the fact that this is the motivation does not in any way surprise me. The thing that I was getting at that I did like is that when they started asking, like, the boyfriend, oh, do you know anything about the Stab movies? He's like, the what now? I've never seen them. When him being this extremely angry fan is what motivates him to be the killer. I'm just like, well, it couldn't be him. He doesn't know anything about, oh, he was lying. He lied.
Oh, I'm watching Stab on Netflix because it's on Netflix. I just want to be prepared. When in fact, he probably just has it bookmarked all the time and just watches it.
And I'm just sitting here going, well, that's not a great timing, but that's kind of endearing, you know? And now it's like, oh no, motherfucker.
That wasn't, I found Richie to be a very funny character in that, like, I'm a hapless boyfriend and I want all of my blood to stay on the inside of my body where it belongs.
Him shutting down the party was so fucking funny.
Saving your life.
Hi, Gen Z.
Like, and getting the cup thrown at him.
Yeah, leave the cup behind. That's great.
I do think it was a really good idea to make somebody that likable and funny one of the villains and to point it out early like the original did. Because, like, Billy, when, like, all the fingers were pointing to him and all those red flags were coming up, like, the misdirect was that, like...
him getting stabbed.
The misdirect was him getting stabbed, but the misdirect was the movie painting him as the villain so hard that you're like, I bet it's not him.
And also him being, like, in jail overnight while one of the attacks happened. Because this was before, holy shit, there's two killers, was really a thing in
standard. Standard for one, a Scream movie, and two,
a possibility in other movies.
Yeah, I'm sure Scream wasn't the first one to do it.
No.
But, like, it definitely, I think, did it the best.
Scream may not have made it, but Scream popularized it.
For sure.
Yeah.
And the reveal was just, so good.
Fucking amazing.
Hello,
Sydney.
Surprise!
That's
but yeah, I forget where I was going with this. Talking about, Billy had no, like, he was tactful, but at no point was he ever charming. He was guarded
he was always
and smart.
Just kind of a weirdo.
Yeah, and like, Richie, on the other hand, is very charming and very funny. And so, like, making him the bad guy, I think, is a good move. Also, entitled white dude fan, like,
yikes! And also, that makes way too much sense. And also, fucking yikes!
I do appreciate that makes way too much sense.
I do appreciate that the two characters who went in the basement in the house alone did wind up being our two killers. Like, I really do appreciate it, because
that was a test and you failed. Mindy's so great.
I am the killer. No, I'm not. And then, like, oh fuck, and then finding out, oh wait, Amber's the killer, and that whole time Amber was the one where about a third of the way through the movie I went, it's her.
Well, Amber
had no other personality.
Amber being one of the killers was fairly easy to figure out because, one, she was involved in the cold open, and so it's fairly easy to put two and two together of, like, it's probably
those videos
a trick.
that they were sending were pre-recorded.
It's probably, and they were definitely pre-recorded because she was probably the one in the costume perpetrating that cold open. Since Richie was probably in Modesto, at the time. So I appreciated. It's fairly easy to put two and two together with her, but I still appreciate that, like, Richie was kind of a surprise.
Yeah.
Richie was still a surprise. But also the movie, very much like the first Scream, doesn't really make a whole lot of allusions about who is actually doing these murders. Like, once you know, it's fairly obvious.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that there are plenty of people who will go in and basically be immediately able to guess
from like the first 20 minutes. And I'm like, good for you! I made a lot of wrong predictions.
See, I'm one of those people who, regardless of what whodunit I'm watching, I'm the type of person that's like, will go, I bet it's that person, every time a new person pops up on screen. So that technically speaking, by the time the movie ends, I could be like, yeah, I called it. Yeah, because I called everyone. That's the exact same as not calling it at all.
I mean, admittedly, I called Wes as either being one of the killers or one of the survivors, and I was hella wrong, and it was actually him being stalked around the house where the people were talking and we yelled at them.
Wes's character dying was a huge bummer. One, because he's clearly named after Wes Craven.
Yeah.
And so it's sad to see him go. But also he's played by a likable actor who pops up in a lot of things.
Talking about characters who didn't get a lot, in terms of our new characters, I don't think Amber got anything aside from McMurder. I don't think Wes got much. Chad was aptly named. Vince was never supposed to be an entity, and so that was fine. He was just that asshole who also got murdered and gave us the Red Right Hand cameo, which was lovely.
Loved the inclusion of Red Right Hand. That made for a really fun scene.
And Liv, we got nothing. She was rarely ever there. She fucked off enough to put suspicion on her, but Mindy had a lot going for her. Tara, Richie, Sam, everyone else I think was missing a dimension. In terms of the kids, I think everyone else was missing a dimension of it.
I think there were a few scenes that might have been on the cutting room floor because Liv, hi Winter. Liv had a connection to the first victim because they had kind of had a thing and he was creeping on her and she didn't want anything to do with him anymore.
And supposedly our first victim was
related to Stu?
Yeah, they said something about, I don't know.
I kind of missed the exact connection.
It went by so
I think we were whispering to each other at that point of theorizing. So missed that exact line, but I think there might have been one or two more scenes with Liv kind of fleshing out that whole thing a little bit, because this guy clearly making unwanted advances and then he's the first one that ends up dead, dead. Yeah, there could be suspicion there of hey, this guy's a creep and bothering me and he's becoming troublesome to my overall evil scheme. I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of him.
Yeah.
And, Ghostface schemes can range from having grandiose illusions about fame and fortune to, I'm a petty bitch. So...
Let's be real. Ghostface's baseline is petty bitch. Doesn't matter which Ghostface, all of them.
It is kind of fun.
Ghostface just has terminal petty bitch syndrome.
It is fun examining the individual motivations for each and every Ghostface. Some it's
petty bitch.
Some it's wanting to be famous. Some it's wanting to make certain public statements about society. Some it's just yeah, you killed my son, I want you dead.
It's did you stop and consider that your son was trying to kill me?
I do like that in Scream 4 we go, Scream 1, it's revenge, and Scream 2, it's revenge, but also I'm going to become famous.
We have one revenge, Scream 1, we have a revenge and an idiot. Scream 2, we have a revenge and an idiot. Scream 3, we have a revenge.
It's
Scream
revenge,
4,
but also this is my art. I'm a director, and
so Scream 3 is both the revenge and the idiot, and Scream 4 is I want to be you and an idiot. And Scream 5 is a pair of idiots.
I just to paint what to contrast this with Scream 4. Scream 4's motive was, I don't need friends, I need fans. And Scream 5's motive is, it's for the fans!
I do like that it's so easy for a property to understand its fandom and to poke fun at it, to be assholes about, fans are weird, you guys. Like, we all know fans are weird. We're all fans. We get it. We look in the mirror every day. But I appreciate that in a world where so many franchises do we have a fan character and they're weird, creepy people. We have a fan character, poke fun at them. This is a movie that understood the assignment and understands that, hey, being a fan isn't a bad thing. And this is a franchise that has had a horror movie fan as a staple throughout all of them.
Multiple horror movie fans, in fact. Yeah. Tara considers herself a horror movie fan. Yeah. And at the end of the day, she's still a horror movie fan in spite of everything she's been through.
Yeah. It's just, this is a movie that took the fan characters and went, you're the villains, here's your motivation. It understood the assignment. It definitely went, hey, we know that fandom can be great. We also know that fandom is capable of producing this. So
yeah, you see the gamut. You see the intellectual fans who are like, yeah, I like this thing because it's an artistic expression that I can really dig into and that I appreciate. That's like the Taras. Then you also get the Mindys and the Chads who, you know, much like their uncle, they're fans, but they're also kind of assholes about it, but not in a way that crosses a line. It's more of like a socially awkward way.
Yeah.
Where it's like, it's more like they don't understand or don't care about like certain social nuances.
They're just like hella blasé.
Yeah. You know, they take after their uncle. And then you have Amber and Richie, who are fans and they take it to an unhealthy place.
Who are possessive fans. This is mine, this is my opinion, I am correct about this, everyone else is wrong, I'm gonna do it right because the people who are doing it don't know what they're doing, Hollywood's wrong. And it's one of those things, it's like, you got a few points in there, but execution is everything and you should not be doing executing right now.
I appreciate that it's not saying that fans are the bad guys, it's toxic fans are the bad guys. But that being said, where are we at? Okay,
we have like 18 minutes.
We should probably wrap it up fairly soon.
The legacy characters were all handled very well.
Yes.
I'm very sad about things for...
Dewey was rough.
Judy too. Judy was rough.
Judy was rough because, like, she's a competent character. She was very, very endearing in Scream 4. She's trying to save her son, and then, you know, gets killed in broad daylight.
Yeah, that's the thing that threw me.
Right outside of her home, and then, the thing that really got me was as the killer is stalking Wes, and he's walking through the house, he closes the refrigerator door and there's a note from his mom that says lemon squares are in the fridge. It's just like, oh my heart.
Also, that again, it was a whole ass like 5-minute sequence. More than that, start to finish.
I don't know. It might have just felt really long because it was so tense.
But it kept doing like, all right, he's getting in the fridge for stuff, and they frame it like, here's the door, here's him, and he'd close the door and there'd be nothing there. And then he's getting in the car.
They did the door trick a lot.
Like 3 times. And every time I'm sitting there going, God damn it. Nope, okay, fine, movie. It was very well done, and it was very much like, we know what you're expecting. You know that we know that you know. Like, yeah. We know. And so we're gonna fuck with you. Very well done. The legacy characters were, I loved it.
Dewey's reintroduction was a huge bummer. One, because he's living
in a trailer down by the river.
But he's got whiskey with his coffee, but the smile on his face, the way he lights up when he changes the channel from the news, which is talking about Ghostface, over to Gail Weathers' morning show, and his face just lights up. It's just like, oh, Dewey, man, what are you doing to me, man?
And him texting her, Ghostface is back, don't come to Woodsboro. And then...
Hope you're doing well.
Hope you're doing well, smiley face. And then started typing, I still, thinking about it, and then deleting it.
And then
it's
deciding against.
Oh, God. Like, they did the legacy
don't.
characters so well. And him calling Sydney, and Sydney talking about, yeah, I'm about to take the girls to school. Like, Sydney got a husband and kids at some point in the 10 years between the last time this bullshit happened and this time. And I appreciate that, like, we never need to see them. We never need to see that whole... I love that we have Sydney moving on with her life. And it's just normal. And there's not a whole big, well, how did she get married? Well, what are her kids' names? Like, it's not important to the story, and that's fine.
I like that we get to see Martha, you know, happy and healthy, and we haven't seen her since Scream 3, and I very much appreciated that, like, Judy also, who had, like, clearly had a big crush on Dewey, also, you know, has a family and everything like that. Yeah. Although, again, that ended very poorly.
That's that whole nope. And just Gail was very well done. I just at the end, the two of them rolling up like, "You ready for this?"
Never. Nope. Let's go.
Just never ready for this, and immediately calling out Amber doing the whole "Oh help me" thing as a trap. Like, just the realization at the end where it's like they lured you to the house. You need to get out now, and it panning back to show the Scream house
with the Dutch angle and everything like that.
Oh, so good.
I appreciated they waited that long to actually say what it was, but I love that if you're a fan and you know these movies, you recognize the house immediately the first time we're in it. It's just like, oh, we're doing this. And we're doing this.
They
amazing.
Didn't go out of their way to, like, I'm sorry, my brain has stopped. Woo! It was just, oh, we're at the house. Oh, it's a pretty big house. Oh, they're like, the point where they open the door and there's music and I'm like, oh, God damn it, they're having a party. It's a party.
Love that if you recognize the Scream house, that you know where they're at the second you see those stairs. And it's just like, but they don't make a big deal about it until Sydney and Gail figure out where they're going. And they both look at the address and go, oh,
no. They're both like, God fucking damn it. It's like, you need to get out now. How do you know where I am? Doesn't matter. You gotta get out.
Don't worry
That's
about that.
the house. And just that's when they do the whole pullback.
That was my favorite camera movement.
Yeah, it was
the entire
so
movie.
good. Oh, man. I also appreciate that a whole bunch of high school kids had a party commemorating Wes, and they pointed out, like, this is supposed to be like a memorial. I'm like, yeah, but we party. And I'm sitting here going, guys, it's an Irish wake. They're getting drunk, they're partying, they're going a little nuts. It's a traditional, you celebrate. You celebrate the human.
Yeah, and like these teenagers didn't really seem like they were being heartless dicks about the murders like the ones in the original Scream.
It was, hey, we heard the principal got strung up. Let's all go see it.
Let's try down because we're desensitized youths.
Whereas this one was just like, yeah, it's definitely a party and there's definitely all sorts of party things going on.
When Tara shows up, everyone cheers.
Yeah.
And they're so happy to see her. They're like, oh my God, you're okay. You're here.
And the party empties out because they specifically empty it out, and it's Amber and Richie who do the emptying
because party's over, everybody out.
Because it's Amber's house, or her parents' house. And they want to have their nice little climax.
Exactly.
In which they hurt people and drag them into the kitchen.
I said when we were walking out of the theater that knowing who the killers are, this would make for a really fun rewatch.
Oh, yeah.
And so that's why I'm like holding off on where I rank Scream 5, because I'm like, I want to rewatch it in the same way that I've rewatched the other sequels. Before I decide like where I'm placing it. But right now,
like how much Ghostface teleportation was truly required for this one? Because for 3 it was like
yeah, a lot of the sequels, the spatial logic of where Ghostface is at and when doesn't necessarily line up, and a lot of that, at least for 2, I think it's pretty solid, but for 2 and 3 3 especially, you can blame that on the constant rewrites that were going on. Like to the point where it's like, it's a miracle those movies were made at all. You know, that sort of thing. But I think a little bit in Scream 4. I think Scream 1 is the one where the logic of who is where and when is the most thought out. I think with the exception of that weird grocery store scene. That's
that was just
why
like,
is he in costume running around right now? That makes no sense.
Because that was before anyone in Woodsboro.
Woodbury is
Woodbury is Walking Dead.
It's a different place entirely.
Other problems.
Because word.
1 was the only one where they wouldn't immediately look at that mask and go, fuck.
Yeah.
But after 1, it's like, no. Everyone knows. They made a movie.
Well, also, like, I appreciate Sam explaining the Woodsboro situation to Richie going in. It's just like, hey, there were some murders. They based a movie franchise on it. And once every 10 years or so, some yahoo puts on a mask and decides to start doing things again. I would like to be like, well, point of order. The first couple times it happened, it was in very quick succession. Those guys did not wait a decade.
It happened, and then like 4 years later, and then like another 4 years later, and now it's
not
like,
even 4 years later.
I know, man.
Scream 1, 2, and 3 were very, very tight.
And then 4 was like, we're gonna wait a decade, and then someone's gonna get the bright fucking idea, you know, long enough to have 7 Stab movies, and then I guess we waited another decade to have Stab 8, and it was just not good. I guess.
Which I think that
I'm not tracking the internal logic of this internal movie within a movie franchise, but that's okay. I think they stopped having logic when they implemented time travel.
I think it checks out, honestly.
Yeah,
especially
fair.
like considering which
horror water.
Oh yeah, sure.
Thank you. I keep reaching for it. It's not there.
Considering which horror franchises in the real world have had resurgences in the last 10 years
That's
and everything like
fair.
that. So I think it makes sense for Stab to have slept a little while.
For Stab to be like
in universe.
For it to have been sheathed.
Oh man. Oh
yeah.
It's so funny. But the
first time you've ever called one of my puns funny. I'll take it.
I was talking about Stab.
I'm taking it anyway. Because larceny is a lesser charge than murder. Woof.
But I think we're wrapping up here. I think to reiterate, I liked the legacy characters, I liked the new characters, I liked the motive, I liked a lot of just the sequences.
Yeah.
Roger Jackson, again, knocks it out of the fucking park as Ghostface. It's so good to hear that voice again. It's also fun, like, kind of, again, having a good idea of who the killer is while you're watching it. A lot of times Ghostface was, like, throwing their entire weight behind certain stabs, and it's just like, yeah, if it's you know, if that's Amber,
girl.
If it's Amber, of course that's the only way she's going to actually connect with an opponent who might be stronger and, you know, taller than her and everything like that. So I was like, I like that little detail of just like, I'm throwing my entire weight. I appreciated how brutal this movie was. It did not pull its punches with the violence. And I like the way it looked too. I love Scream 4, but, like, it always feels kind of overexposed with its lighting.
It's got a weird soft filter
It's got a very weird lighting to it. I think they were trying to differentiate its look from the previous Scream movies a little bit, but it has this very weird...
It's overcorrected.
Yeah, it has this very weird look to it. I still love it, don't get me wrong. It's still one of my favorites.
But it's like visual auto-tune sometimes.
Yeah.
When you can, like, tell.
Where it's like, you're definitely like, okay, yeah, this was a deliberate choice to make it look this way. And I'm not quite sure.
Why?
But also why. I didn't feel that way looking at this movie. So I liked the way it looked. Yeah. I liked the actors. I thought they were very charming. I thought the writing was good. I loved the throwbacks to previous movies. I think they were well done. The look behind you, Jamie. No, you look behind you. Like, the whole back and forth on that was incredible. I love that more people survived than I thought. Like,
oh shit, Mindy and Chad actually survived and they confirmed it, as opposed to, is Kirby alive?
That
probably not, but who knows?
Yeah, I would.
It was never confirmed, but also like I would have loved to have seen her at the hospital as well.
Headcanon is that she lived and left Woodsboro, as one should do.
She went, fuck this.
I would have liked a Matthew Lillard and Hayden Panettiere cameo. Like those would have been nice cameos. But you know what? We can't have everything. It's okay. You know, availability is
quite a bit, and it was very good.
Yeah, it like those things would have taken it from like a 10 to an 11, but like you know what we got was fantastic.
Yeah,
and I really couldn't ask for more.
Again, if you're into this franchise, highly recommended. And if you do not feel safe going to theaters right now, that is absolutely valid. Do your best to avoid spoilers. You watched this whole ass video. Oh my god.
Point being, good. If you don't care about spoilers, but you wanted to hear what we had to say, go see it. It's
you like Scream, go see it.
It's a good time.
If you haven't seen any Screams and you like horror movies, watch some Screams. 1, 2, and 4.
And the TV show.
It has nothing to do with anything, and it's a bit of a slow burn, but it's good shit.
It is good stuff.
2 seasons in a movie, and then a 3rd season that's completely disconnected from everything else.
Which, again, we have not seen yet, but it's on our list. It's on our list. I'm definitely down to see it now that the whole thing is on Netflix. Yeah. And actually, I'm kind of jazzed to go back to it because we were trying so hard to watch it and then we couldn't find it and then time got away from us. So I'd be down to go back to it. But anyway, so definitely thumbs up all the way around from us. Katie, where can people go if they want to find you?
You can follow me all over the social medias as well as on YouTube and Twitch at Kiaxet. That is Kiaxet. I am also doing a weekly show called Nighttime at the Nerd Bar. That is on Fanversation's YouTube channel. It's spelled like conversation, but with fan instead of con. Fanversation. We record live every Monday at 7:30 p.m. Pacific, and all of our VODs on that channel. We're a couple of nerds talking. We have a really good time.
And I'm Megan. You guys can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at TheMenguin. That's TheMenguin. Follow us at Silver_Screams on Twitter and Instagram. Like us on Facebook. All that jazz. Have you seen Scream 5? We want to hear what you have to say. So let us know what you thought in the comments below.
If you are going to do spoilery comments to respect the people who are here for the spoiler-free part of it, do that fun little thing where you write a line or two and then hit enter a bunch of times and then talk spoilers.
Yeah, so YouTube spoiler alert.
So YouTube puts it under a cut. And also, we want to know, what's your favorite scary movie?
Alright, thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you all next time.
Goddamn, what a good movie.
Goddamn, what a good movie.
What a good movie.